time when you heard something what happened at the school?
I was in the office and working, and
Sorry, where are you now
Pardon me?
You're physically located in Trumbull?
in
or-
Fairfield.
Fairfield. okay.
Fairfield. So I was on the post road in Fairfield. My partner Sal comes in and says, "Look, Joan just called and said there's a shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School." And at that point in time, the news report at that point in time, because it was very early, said something about they thought it was a marital problem. So I tried calling Mary, no answer. Call, no answer, no answer. Jump on the computer to see what's going on, and things were obscure enough that I said, okay, I have to go. So I ran out of the office, jumped in the car, 95, got on the Route 25-8 connector. As I'm coming on, there's two ambulances coming on from coming south on 95 at a very high rate of speed, so I just got in behind them, and we're tearing up 25. I don't know how fast we were going. As fast as they were going, I was going. And then I got stopped at a light or something, and I had only actually been to Sandy Hook Elementary School once, and it was in the middle of summer. Because typically I leave the house first, I'm home last, and it's probably from Fairfield, it's probably half an hour to 35-minute ride with no traffic. So I never really went up there. So I didn't really have I generally knew where the school was. So I got in the car, drove as fast as I could. I'm getting down into the little hamlet of Sandy Hook itself. And now I know I'm in the right spot because it's just a mess of cars and lights and everything else. So I just pulled off on a side road and parked the car, and I ran the rest of the way into the firehouse.
We've heard the scene at the firehouse described by Carly Soto Parisi. Did you see Carly? Do you recollection?
I don't believe I saw that testimony.
Oh, sorry, but do you recall seeing Carly at the firehouse, or you didn't know her?
I mean, I only came to know later that that's one of the pictures that you've used in evidence that was her. I did not know. I did not know anybody really before the shooting.
Okay. And obviously you learned at some point that Mary was one of the was killed. She was murdered in the shooting.
Well, I walked into the firehouse, and it was chaotic, to say the least. And I'm looking around. I don't see Mary, and again, I don't really know anybody there. But there was someone came at me. They had a lanyard on, and I recognized the name because it was another Trumbull person that worked in the school. And I said, "Hi, I'm Bill Sherlach. I'm Mary's husband. Have you seen her?" And evidently, she was in the meeting room with my wife when this all happened. And she said, "Oh my God, Bill," she said, "there has been a shooting. Dawn, Mary, and the lead teacher, I forget her name, left the room, and only the lead teacher came back." So at that point in time, I knew this was going to have a terrible, terrible ending to it. You hold out all hope against hope. So I was probably one of those people that were circling through the firehouse, just looking and hoping that somebody made a mistake. But as time went on, I was able to verify the fact that, that Mary and Dawn were the two that did not make it back into the meeting room that morning. So.
Is it your understanding that Mary left the office to confront the shooter?
My understanding is that the three of them, it was Dawn first, Mary, and then the lead teacher, went out to see what was going on in the lobby. The order of which happened, I mean, who knows? But I do know that Mary was shot 5 times. Any of each, there were 2 shots, either of which would have been fatal basically instantly.
When did you go to the school? The summer that you went to the school was when?
It was weird coming back from someplace, and it's located up near Interstate 84, where we would get off at the Route 34 exit and take back roads into Trumbull. And a little sarcastically, she said, you've never seen my school. Can we at least can we at least take a run through the driveway? And I said, okay, fine, not a problem.
Was she proud of the school that she worked at?
Very much so, yeah, very much so. She had she could not speak highly enough about the faculty and staff at Sandy Hook.
Was it in disarray, or did it look anything like a toxic waste dump or a cutout or a fake scene?
Not the day I drove through it, not the day I went in to look at the school after they had closed things up and offered to have the victims walk through the school weeks after the shooting. No, certainly not.
Was the school ever closed down for any length of time during Mary's 18 years?
No, not at all.
Now, did there come a time, Bill, when you got, well, first of all, had you ever heard of this Alex Jones guy?
No.
Had you ever heard of InfoWars?
No.
Okay. Do you have any idea what he was up to while you were racing to the schoolhouse and at the firehouse?
You have to realize I had no social media presence whatsoever. I am a dinosaur when it comes to technology. I had an email address, but I never used it. I didn't know how. In fact, it was, an old company that doesn't even exist anymore. I had no Facebook. I don't tweet. I don't Instagram. None of that. I couldn't even tell you how to do it. So I had no idea. Had no idea anything relative to social media.
And you had no other you had no other experience, well withdrawn. Did there come a time, Bill? Well, can you tell us a little bit about?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Earthlink.
Oh,
the old company that.
Yeah, that's very dated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you have? Can you just tell us the plans? Obviously, for obvious reasons, your weekend ended up being something else. Can you just generally talk about the week or so after the shooting, or?
Well, once you've all heard the meeting in the back room of the firehouse when the governor basically made his pronouncement. Just something no one ever wants to live through. What the reaction in that room, you just never ever want to see anything like that or hear anything like that. And at that point in time, my cell phone I did have a cell phone. The battery was draining because people were checking in with me. My daughters, they had started their way to come up because I had told them that it didn't look good. And then I was like, I got to go home. I got to be there for the girls when they get home. So by that time, my two work partners, Rob and Sal, had somehow, they're in sales. They got themselves through and into the firehouse somehow, and they said, "All right, come on, we'll get you home." And so they came together. So one of them drove my car with me in it home. And then, the fog sets in. It's the people stopping over, people bringing in, food, people bringing in cases of wine. I mean, just a nonstop people coming in that Friday afternoon, Friday evening.